Hello, it's Jane Slacksmith here, and I just wanted to share with you a wonderful story. Often at Investors Choice Mortgages, we have the opportunity to share in some amazing life experience with people, be it Amanda to join us today. Hi, Amanda, how are you going?
Hi, Jane. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Now, we've been working together for, over 10 years?
It's been a long time, yeah. We've done lots of projects together.
And we've been through some, we were talking a bit earlier, we've been through some exciting times and some stressful times as well. I wanted to get you to just share some of those experiences and finally tell us about what's all happening at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, at the big exciting thing that's happened for me is I'm about to become a grandmother for the first time. My son, Hugo, is living in London and very happily married, and they're expecting a baby in May. So that's been big news for us, and the culmination of they've been together for a very long time, and of course you've been an intrinsic part of that as well.
Well, I guess what's been so exciting about this for me is that, we started working together with your situation, and then, over 10 years ago, and then Hugo went off to uni, and we talked about buying a property in Canberra, and we did that.
Yes, we did that. He went off to university down there, and he was in college, and then we thought, well, rather than rent, we'd buy an apartment. And so we did that, and you helped us with that. And that was maybe not the best investment, because the Canberra market, I think, is still maybe a bit struggling, but it gave him security, and it gave us security, and it gave him responsibility and ownership. So which was really, we learned a lot.
And then, we moved on to Hugo graduated from college and, obviously got married to Gabby, and they bought a property.
Well, they got engaged in August 2014, and I get the the endless emails across my desk, and I saw this apartment, and I said to Hugo, you and Gabby should have a look at this. It'd be maybe a nice apartment for you, and it was down near the water near the harbour, and it was a lovely Art Deco apartment. So they went down, he rang me and he said, Mum, you've got to come and have a look at this, it's gorgeous. And so I went down and had a look, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
So you came into the picture, and we were able to help with some of the deposit, and he had some investments that he and I had sort of worked on over the years. So we'd scraped the deposit together, and then we had a budget, and we got it on budget, like we got it on the dollar.
Yeah.
And they bought that in 2014, and they got married in 2015. And they didn't live in it for very long. They lived in my place for a while they got married and got on their feet, and then they moved in, and then the Wanderlust bug hit, and they headed off. So it's been rented out for the last couple of years.
And it's done really well. They moved to London. They've had, followed some really interesting career choices over there as well, and satisfied that wonder bug. But
no, if they're satisfied, I think they've made it worse.
But I think what when you reached out and told me that, the growth of the property and choosing to buy in such a great area has actually increased the value of the property so much that they actually have the opportunity for, one income for a while whilst they have a baby. So it's actually given them a lot of freedom of choice as well about extending their family.
Well, they're quite young. They got married young, and they're only in their, say, late 20s now. So, mostly when you tell people they're in their late 20s, they're married, they're having a baby, often the response is, gosh, they're very young. But because of people like you that I've had in my life, they've got a really good financial setup, and they've got their insurance, it's got all their ducks in a row. And so buying this apartment and then selling it now so that they've got their money in the bank, they can have the next 12 months without pressure, and then they can decide what they do next, because they live in a very simple life in London, but they probably want to come back eventually, I hope. One day.
I hope so for you too, to enjoy that new grandbaby.
Granny needs to be considered in all of this. So yes, the has really set them up. They're financially comfortable without us having to give them a large amount of money, just by digging in, and we had the property that we were able to take a little bit of our capital for them, has really made a huge difference to them now. We didn't really discuss them having a baby, or they didn't tell us they were planning to have a baby. They just said, we're having a baby now. So okay, but we were able to put the property on the market, and with a great real estate agent in Sydney, we did really well. We did probably a little better than we'd anticipated, so they were very excited, particularly when I sent them the email and got the price wrong, and they thought they'd actually sold it for more than they had. So that was a little bit of a dud thing to do.
Oh, well. So what kind of equity gain did they make in that 3 years?
Oh gosh, about 270,000.
It's a good, around $300,000 in 3 years is kind of good. Most people don't make that every year, do they? $100,000.
No, and it's hard to save, and they're frugal the way they live. And with some good accounting advice, they didn't live in it for the first 6 months, which they should have, but because of the marriage and everything else, they didn't. But with some good accounting advice and some deposits, some contributions to their super funds, we've been able to write off the capital gains tax on it too. So that was quite good. So good advice. You need good people around you, Jane.
And I think, just the lovely thing here is that with your eye for property and your experience as well, looking at that older style unit, the Art Deco, something with a character, not off the plan, not new, something that they can add some value to as well. And being in a great location and identifying where people want to live, proximity to transport, but also to the water, all of those things combined, and obviously, the growth that was experienced in Sydney over the last few years, that has really allowed them at such a young age to have, money pressures off their head, which is, my mighty mission is trying to remove money pressures for people so they can get on and spend time doing what's important to them. And what's more important than starting a family?
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think to not have financial pressure, because we're quite involved as family, it also takes the pressure off from here. You don't feel like, that you worry about them. I don't have to worry about them. I can see that they're happy, they're relaxed, and they've got a nice nest egg to go forward, and they can plan. They know where they are. They know where they stand. They don't have to worry about what they're going to do next. They can relax while they have the baby. They can relax for the first 12 months, and then they can decide.
It's having that freedom of choice is something that I think, we all deserve, but not everyone gets the opportunity to do. And as a parent, not having that extra pressure on yourself in worrying about your kids knowing they're set up right is just an absolute testament to yourself. And obviously, giving Hugo a bit of extra tutorage and investment advice along his shares and things to build up that deposit to start with. So congratulations to you for being such a wonderful mum.
Oh, Jane, you've been a great friend to me for a long time. We've done a lot of projects, and hopefully we've got plenty more to do.
Sure hope so. Well, look, I really appreciate you taking the time out and sharing the story, because I think it's just so inspirational for people to see what can happen when you get things right and that freedom of choice it gives you. So I really appreciate you joining today, Amanda, and sharing that story.
That's a great pleasure, Jane. It's always very nice to talk to you. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, guys, that was Amanda just sharing her story. I think it's so important that we share these stories and we celebrate the big wins and the little wins. And there's so many important life moments that here at Investors Choice Mortgages we've had a chance to be part of, and we're really privileged to do that. And we love our clients and love being part of their lives. So for now, that's it. Thank you. And here is to your property success.